Very good afternoon. Very good afternoon. Honorable DC sir, can we start or shall we wait?
Yeah, yes, please. If for the people who have joined, please start. Doesn't require any permission. Yeah.
Right, sir. Thank you, sir. Yes. The latest developments in GIS technology and the tremendous integration of advanced technologies, transformation of business, industry, e-governance, and the career opportunities are the need of the hour. Professor O.R.S. Rao sir, Honorable Vice Chancellor, ICFA University, Jharkhand, respected Professor Arvind Kumar sir, Registrar, ICFA University, industry expert in today's talk series, today's guest of honor, Shri Rajesh C. Mathur, Senior Director, Strategy ESRI, India, Technologies Private Limited, Assistant Dean, Faculty of Management Studies, Dr. Bhagwat Barik sir, faculty members, students, and all the audiences within Jharkhand and outside Jharkhand. On behalf of ICFA University, Jharkhand, I welcome you all. Today, the Center for Digital Transformation of ICFA University, Jharkhand, in association with Internal Quality Assurance Cell and Institutions Innovation Council organizing industry expert talk session on digital transformation through GIS technology for the first time in ICFA University, Jharkhand. This session is also live on YouTube channel of the university. Also, I welcome all YouTube audiences too in this mega session of industrial talk series. Now, may I request Honorable Vice Chancellor sir, ICFA University, Jharkhand, Professor O.R.S. Rao sir, to welcome our today's guest and address the gathering and bless us. Over to VC sir.
Mr. Rajesh Mathur, the today's industry expert, Senior Director from the Esra, and he also happens to be my colleague. We worked, in the same company for more than 2 to 3 years. This is more than, let me say about 25 years back. So while we have been in touch, and I think for the first time I'm seeing him on the screen, he hasn't changed very much, though I have changed. So, and Dr. H.P. Singh, Vice Chancellor for ICFA University, Jaipur, Dr. A.K. Saini, the Dean FST from the ICFA University, Jaipur, my own senior colleagues, Dr. Sudhir Chattopadhyay, Professor Arvind Kumar, Registrar, Dr. Barik, and all our senior faculty members and students and the participants, importantly. Today we are so impressed with the kind of profile of the participants. We have got participants from across the country, from all the regions of the country. And we have got faculty members, not only from our university, but we also got the teachers, some school teachers that have been teaching geography. From there, we have got the teachers that have been teaching the technologies. We also have got a number of working professionals. So today, considering the vagaries of the video conferencing, this is something today. We are organizing this session both through the Zoom and also the YouTube Live. In fact, today we have got a lot more participants going through the YouTube Live. So a hearty welcome to all of you to today's exciting session on the, today is not a technology session. It is a session on how the technology is impacting our life, our personal life, and also our, the work life. And in fact, it is not new to us. All of us have been living in this so-called the digital world, which has been radically changing the way we live, work, and it has been kind of affecting, it is improving our, it is giving convenience, it's saving time, it's saving money. And the way we are shopping, the way we are traveling, the way we are enjoying by way of entertainment, they also have changed. While the convergence of computers, internet and mobile, they have enabled all the changes, the new technologies that are coming up. Earlier, we used to talk of ABC, that is to be AI, big data, and cloud. Now it has become A to Z. We have got augmented reality, B stands for also blockchain, we have got digital printing, IoT, whatnot, all of them are there. They will accelerate and transform these kind of the processes, the way we kind of work, and we make them more efficient, and it also enhances the speed and quality of our own decision making. Earlier, most of the technologies were essential in terms of bringing in convenience and process efficiency. Now the business models are changing, and it is also kind of helping in improving the decision making methodologies. Perhaps all of you may say that in the last 2 years, COVID has affected our life. And the COVID has speeded up the pace of virtual world. But at the same time, after a kind of year, if you see, most of us are bored. Our students are bored, faculty are bored. They feel like imprisoned. The missing thing is the physical world. And ultimately, all of us have realized what we have taken for granted, that the physical world, meeting people, going to places, ultimately, I think that's what makes the difference for a human being. So that's where ultimately, all said and done, the physical world matters. That is what kind of where we live, where we work, and where we enjoy. And one of the important aspects of our real life is time and space. And time will not wait for anybody. And space is there for everybody to use. That's where, where am I? Where is my house? Where do I go for shopping? And where do I go for picnic? How do I reach there the fastest with the traffic jams or whatnot if it is cities? Or if you are getting into a small town, through multiple modes of transport, how do you go? Are I on my way? Supposing in a rainy season, there's a cyclone, will it affect my journey? These are all the kind of things, where we find that, yes, place becomes an important thing. And today we have been talking of the self-driving vehicles, they are just, a few months away. Already they are on the roads in some parts of the world. Similarly, Elon Musk is talking of the space excursions or the picnics. They are going to become a reality. Behind all of them is a technology called the GIS, or a geospatial technology, or a geospatial information kind of a system that is there to that. But most of us that are using, our Google Maps on our car may or may not realize that what is behind that is a GIS technology and a lot of map data that is kind of, collected and, updated on a day-to-day basis, so that, you are reaching the places, in time without problems. So this kind of a GIS technology, at least what we have seen is, yes, it will help not only individuals, it can help the industry in various applications. If it is a kind of manufacturing industry, in supply chain management, it can help. Similarly, particularly with the government, starting with the disaster management, including something like spread of the COVID-19 pandemic, how it spreads and how to contain that. And today we are so fortunate that we have got Dr. H.P. Singh in the defense applications, starting with tracking the enemy or tracking the terrorists, wherever it is, into that, and how to contain them. And our university offers a program on mining, BTech mining, and in the mine exploration and planning, there also it is very useful. So now the convergence of all the emerging technologies, I mentioned about the ABCD going up to that, all these technologies with GIS, it can enable a real transformation of the business world. Because the days, I was conversant with the GIS, those days, it used to be more of the cadastral mapping, municipal applications, and a little bit of a business kind of application. But today, it's kind of, it can help in transforming the entire business world and personal life. And in the last few years, the government has been encouraging the adoption of the GIS technology, particularly with regard to public utility projects like smart cities. 100 cities they have embarked, and with an investment of at least over 2 lakh crores of investment. And geocoding of the various land records, properties. Today, a lot of cities, including Hyderabad, today, in fact, most of the properties are geocoded. And, I was reading in the papers, yesterday that, the government wants to create 3D maps of all the 100 cities. They want to do the mapping of 6 lakh villages. And they are spending a lot of money on that. Government is spending a lot of money. And as per the estimates, currently the GIS market is over, at 25 to 27,000 crores, and it is galloping, and it is expected to reach about 37,000 crores in the next 3 years. What does that all mean to us? Particularly for the students, it throws open huge opportunities for employment of our students. Besides application development, there's a huge opportunity for the creation of the map data and updation of the data, which is very important. I'm so happy to inform all of you that some of our alumni, particularly from BCA and BTech, they leverage these opportunities and build careers in government, in GIS. And, one of our students have been working in the Jharkhand Department of Remote Sensing. And one of our alumni, he is in the Delhi government. Delhi government has set up a dedicated unit for the GIS. He's the assistant general manager there. He is involved in the policy making with regard to the GIS applications. And another student of ours, he's into the mine exploration planning. He's working with the Indian Bureau of Mines. While a few of the students realize the importance of that, I realized that most of us realize that most of our students are not aware of technology and its opportunities that are there. Opportunities, particularly with regard to the career building. A lot of them think that it's nothing to do with IT. It's totally different. So that is the reason why our university decided to hold this seminar today, so that all of our students must be made conversant that GIS is a mainline technology. It's not a sort of a technology which is a niche technology, which used to be the case earlier. And it's important for all of our students to be aware of what is the potential of GIS and what are the job opportunities that are there. And more so nowadays, people talk of we talk of the artificial intelligence and machine learning kind of thing. And today, there's an opportunity to integrate all those technologies so that, yes, you can build a holistic application, so that in terms of a customer experiencing and various areas it is possible. What we thought was, to get on to this kind of a topic, we couldn't have got a person, better than Mr. Rajesh Mathur. So Rajesh, not only my colleague, he's a veteran as far as the GIS is concerned. And he did pioneering work, in enlarging the GIS market in various applications. And he has been associated with the Esra. Esra is the largest GIS technology company in the world. And that's where he has been working, into the strategy formulation to that. I'm told that, the ESR in India, they have got over 450 employees, and he has been driving this strategy from various sectors. So with these few words, over to kind of a Rajesh. So maybe because of my kind of conversations with him, maybe I may have the liberty of calling him Rajesh. So
absolutely.
Over to Rajesh, all of our, the audience, participants, they are really eagerly awaiting, your discussion. And maybe at the end of the discussion, I would request Dr. H.P. Singh. He's a veteran from the defense. Not only from the defense, he's a veteran, in deployment of technology in defense. Sort of, I would request him, to say a few words, sharing his experiences on, and also his thoughts on, of course, maybe we don't expect him to get into any of the confidential kind of, data into that, with broad applications on kind of how that is being used and that can be done into that. And we also have got some of our own alumni that will be sharing their own kind of experience in the GIS kind of, a career journey. So, and after that, maybe the students, maybe ask any questions. So over to Rajesh.
Thank you very much for your kind introduction, Professor Rao. At the outset, I'd like to thank Professor Rao, faculty members of ICFA University, and students. It's indeed an honor to be here with you this afternoon to share with you some perspectives on GIS technology, current trends, future direction, and of course, the employment opportunities. As Professor Rao mentioned, he and I worked together as colleagues several years ago. What he didn't tell you was that he was my boss for a little over 3 years at NIIT and prior to that, IDM, back in mid-90s. So, okay, so I would like to share my slides. I guess I do have the permission. So, do I?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so let's see. There we are. Okay, so can you see my slides?
Yes, sir. Visible, sir.
Very good. I'm getting I have to get a few things out of the way because they are blocking the screen. Here we are. Okay. All right. Good afternoon. And as Professor Rao mentioned, GIS is, I think, one of the most promising technologies in the IT world today. It's playing transformational role in enabling various business processes, workflows across different domains, and certainly is one of the most exciting career opportunities for students pursuing a career in geospatial technologies. So over the next 45 minutes or so, I'll share with you some of the technology perspectives, directions into how technology is being deployed and will be deployed in the years to come. And of course, a discussion on the career opportunities it offers to the students pursuing geospatial. You would agree that we live in a very complex world. Complex world today has really two parts. What you can call the part as planet was created, the nature. You have the oceans, the various ecosystem, animals, atmosphere, and so on. The natural world, if you will. And the other part is the world created by the human intervention. Energy networks, technology, buildings, and so on and so forth. While they are two different systems, and yet they are interconnected. And they are constantly changing. The pace of change is accelerating today largely because of human intervention. And it's, as you know, creating many challenges. You can see the urbanization that's happening. As per an estimate, more than 40% of Indian population will live in cities by 2030. And that is going to create huge pressure on the already stressed infrastructure. We also seen the impact of climate, deforestation that's happening, loss of biodiversity, and so on. In fact, it's these changes, which are largely caused by human intervention, are threatening our natural world and likely to impact our future as humans. And you already know about how global warming is going to impact the population in the years to come. What we need is a better understanding of what's happening on the planet Earth, what is the cause and what's the impact. And it requires collaboration, and most important, it requires action. Creating a sustainable future is possible. So all is not lost, let me put it this way. However, we need to take a more holistic way of the situation. We need to take a more committed action to deal with and correct some of the damage that we caused over the last several decades. Decarbonize energy, build renewable energy sources, reduce pollution, promote equity, and several other actions which are required. It won't be easy. It requires our best science, our best technology, and creativity to come up with solutions to create a different world, a better world for our future generations to live. One of the key requirements for that would be geographic thinking, but finally, we are dealing with the geographic features. Geography tells us the cause and the impact of our action and the impact. The geographic approach gives us the ability to take a more comprehensive a more integrative view of the situation. It gives you a view which is based on science, and very important, it gives us spatial understanding, which gives us a good understanding of whatever is happening around us, what's the cause, for instance, what causes global warming and what action on our part can possibly delay it. It may not be possible to remove it, but maybe we can delay it as much as possible. It requires collaborative action, and of course, require a better understanding of the geoscience and its applications. And this is where GIS comes in the picture. GIS, as you know, stands for Geographic Information System. Yeah, that's back. My screen had all kinds of things which I'm trying to get rid of. Okay, so it gives us a very different approach. It gives us a geographic approach. GIS is essentially, we call it, and at ESRA we call it the science of where. You can also say GIS is applied geography, which is enabled by technology. And it helps us in the entire workflow of taking action to deal with some of the challenges that I talked about. Right from measurement to capture data, and you can do it in a number of ways. Satellite imagery, aerial photographs, drones, physical survey, GPS, and all other methods. You can also take live feeds from data coming in through various channels and so on. So capturing the data, integrating it, using it to create maps and visualizing the data with a spatial background, a map and all satellite imagery. Creating what-if scenarios, building models, analyzing it to see the relationship between different features, based on which you can do predictive analytics, create scenarios, and acquire a much deeper understanding of the situation. This would become clearly the key input to building realistic plans, keeping in mind the whole geo-design concept. That is, geo-design is designing with nature in mind, with geography in mind. I'll talk about it a little later again. Applying that information to take more informed decisions leading to action. So GIS essentially provides us both the process, as I described just now, and also a framework to apply geographic knowledge. Traditionally, GIS has been known to be the technology that deals with storage, management, analysis, and application of geographic information. Well, it continues to do that. However, it does much more. Today, GIS is an integration platform to capture and integrate data coming from multiple sources. I talked about some of them, including live feeds like environment data, pollution data, data being sent by sensors, monitoring water flow in water pipes in city water utility. Also, data sent by cameras installed at different locations in a city. It also can import or ingest, if you will, data coming in, alphanumeric data, for instance, from spreadsheets and others, integrate all this and put it on what you may call a geo platform for dissemination and consumption as a service. One of the key applications of that would be analytics. Taking a deep dive into the data your search captured, creating different scenarios, doing that analysis, and coming out with the most optimum decision in a given situation or a given problem that you're trying to solve. And last but not the least, a communication platform by way of maps and visualization. So you can, on a map, on a screen, on a laptop, in a mobile phone, you can review the data and understand the situation. Gives us a tool to solve problems holistically, and a platform which can be used both by organizations and society. Organizations could be departments, government organizations, corporate houses, and society, serving communities at large, cities, and so on. We are seeing a lot of innovation happening in some of the technologies which are feeding into a geographic information system. various data measurement techniques like drones, LiDAR, light imaging and detection, light detection and ranging technologies used for survey, BIM building information modeling, unstructured data coming in through spreadsheets and so on and so forth, and photographs, sensors and IoT. So today's GIS, ArcGIS is the ESRI brand. So ArcGIS has the capability to capture and ingest data coming from all these sources and more. Computing world has seen major changes. Professor Rao talked about it a while ago. We have seen artificial intelligence, machine learning, cloud, Kubernetes, distributed processing, and so on. Again, there's another innovation which is creating a new IT platform to deploy geospatial technologies or GIS basically. And of course, the whole science of the geography, the science of GIS, if you may say, the work there, and also in the IT space, like data sciences, modeling techniques, spatial temporal analysis, which is both time and space, something that Professor Rao talked about earlier. Today, GIS, ArcGIS specifically, is integrating in all these innovations. Basically, ArcGIS supports three fundamental systems. So in a way, we can call it a system of systems. If you look at the bottom of the screen, you have what we call the system of record. It's essentially consolidation of all the data, all the maps, imageries, and other forms of spatial information, geospatial information that you're collecting and hosting it there. Also, all the transactions which are being processed, storing it like land record transactions, property related transactions, so on. So the system of record provides that to the user, maybe on a database. A system of engagement which gives you the ability to consume this data as a service, enable various solutions on top of the geospatial content, and of course, system insights, which gives you the analytical capability. So these are the three key pillars of three fundamental systems which support ArcGIS technology. ArcGIS integrates data from various sources. I already talked about it, so I won't go into more detail. Tabular data, CAD data, and this is one of the very interesting development. We can directly import engineering data from a CAD file and location enable it. Real-time data are coming from an IoT network, big data, 3D imagery, and so on. We import all this and creates a common language and hosts it on a geo platform for consumption by all those who can benefit, applications and just data viewing. Let's move on to how emerging technologies are influencing the geospatial technology of today in creating new paradigms. For instance, artificial intelligence, machine learning, a lot of work, as you know, is going on in this domain. And clearly it's not the technology of the future, but it's now is being applied extensively across different domains and different application areas. In geospatial world, GIS world also, the number of ways machine learning, AI, and deep learning are being applied. For instance, clustering. Clustering is really basically comprises the, in GIS context, locations which have common behavior. And it in terms of application, for instance, in a city, identifying which are the hotspots for crime. So looking at all the crime data and seeing a pattern in that, and seeing these are the areas where crimes tend to occur more frequently than other places. You could also bring the temporal aspect that these areas become really unsafe at night. So, and there are a number of other areas in the COVID management. For instance, clustering was used to determine where you need to create containment zones, where there's a high incidence of the disease occurrence, and that needs extensive coverage, also capacity planning to attend to those who are infected. Classification would mean identifying all the locations, areas, or data sets which have common characteristics. For instance, on a map, you could say which are the water bodies, where are the forests located. So look at the data and directly from a satellite image, you can directly identify this is a forest area or these are water bodies and so on. All automated, enabled by machine learning. and of course, building predictive model. And on the right, on the right of the screen, you can see some examples. Feature extraction. Those of you who are familiar with GIS would know feature extraction is something that we have been doing for years, maybe decades. But AI and machine learning have automated the whole process. You can look at a satellite image and identify in this particular application, for instance, the screen you see on the top right is a feature extraction to identify building footprints. And the user organization here is PACI Kuwait, that is Public Authority for Civil Infrastructure. This feature extraction work for identification of all the building footprint used to take them about 2 months with 5 or 6% working 4 hours a day. They're not able to do it in less than 2 weeks because they could automate the whole process by enabling the AI machine learning capability of ArcGIS. Accident prediction, one of our users analyzed all the accident data for the last 5 years or so. I try to identify the pattern and looking at different parameters, weather, condition of the road, if it's 2 lanes or 4 lane, is it highway, and all kinds of parameters they consider and determine which are the hotspots for occurrence of an accident and under what conditions. If similar conditions, for instance, weather conditions occur, they can reasonably accurately predict where there's a higher probability of an accident so that they're prepared for it and they can give alerts to the driver. So, and there's just a few examples to illustrate how AI machine learning have added enormous value to how GIS is being deployed. In fact, this thing is really about not just AI, but the whole of data science. You know, what we are seeing today is it will be a good integration between spatial analysis and data sciences. And in my view, both the technologies have benefited from it. Data science has become a lot richer by spatial analysis because it brought in the location parameter into the whole world of data sciences. See, as per some statistics, 80% of all the decisions that are taken across the different organizations have a geography component or have a location component. So once you bring in location data into information system, certainly you have a much richer content to take informed decisions. Likewise, spatial analysis tools, GIS for instance, ArcGIS, are able to use some of the technologies with data science offers, big data, AI, machine learning, deep learning, to get deep insights into the data that's before you and come out with more meaningful and more informed recommendation for decision. So an amazing development which enriches both the sciences. Another interesting concept which has become prevalent today is real-time GIS, or real-time analytics, we call it. The integration of IoT, integration of sensor networks with a GIS platform. So if you look at the diagram in the middle, you had data coming in from multiple sources. It could be environment data, pollution sensor located in different parts of the city, pumping in data real time. It could be various assets like flow meters in a water utility, distribution transformers in a utility, vehicles, which are feeding not just information about location, but also various components, various sub-assemblies, and pumping all the data into in ESRI domain, a product called Geo Event Server, which ingests all this and provides meaningful information by way of, for instance, situational awareness. And one example of that would be how it supports command and control centers in cities, with the data being pumped in by sensors monitoring water pressure in utilities, water discharge utilities, captured through SCADA, or data being sent by sensors or environment data coming in, can all be overlaid and gives you situation on the ground at any given moment. So the command control centers is aware of the situation in different parts of the city so that appropriate action can be taken. It gives you meaningful data for analysis and future decision making. And of course, it sends alerts. If a camera notices there's heavy congestion of vehicle in a certain area, traffic alerts can be sent to all the drivers in the neighborhood so that they can consider taking an alternate route. So all this is happening today. The IoT integration, IoT being enabled through location is a new paradigm. Edge is another. In an IoT network, edge is that part of the network which is capturing all the data, the sensor, the camera, the flow meters, and others. Very often, users are challenged because the bandwidth available may not allow them to send so much data that is sent by these sensors. So edge gives you the ability to do geoprocessing right there and send data which is only relevant. So only if there's a change which requires to be communicated, that information is sent. So today, GIS has that capability that can do that analysis right at the edge level, and they would not send all the information that is being captured, but only only what's relevant. Another interesting development is the augmented reality integration with GIS. As you know, augmented reality is about overlaying virtual world over the real world. In this example, you can see a maintenance engineer of a water utility is trying to get to the particular location where a certain pipe is located. So on his tablet, he can see where he's standing, he can see where the pipes are located below the ground, and then go and start digging, or where there's a need, or not dig all over the place. And there are a number of other areas where augmented reality overlaid on a GIS map or an image can make a huge difference to how you serve the communities. Yet another interesting development has been emergence of digital twins, where digital twins in a way have been around for a while, but they were there in the engineering industry. Whenever any engineering product was being designed, could be automobile, could be a part of an automobile, you could create a digital model of this whole thing, put it to different tests, and crash tests or finite element method analysis, whatever, and then clear it for manufacture or prototype building. Digital twins, as you can see, is a virtual representation of the real world, including physical objects, assets on the ground and below the ground, processes, relationships, and behaviors. And GIS enables you to integrate the natural environment with the built environment. And let me show an example to make the point. In this particular, you can see once you have a building, okay, a building is being designed, and you're building a building information model, a BIM, as they say, complete model. You may also create a model of the network, the electric network, in this case, the water utility network into the ground, integrated with the landscape, the surroundings where all this is coming up. And so on the right, what you see on the right is a comprehensive integrated view, in this particular example, of a city, where you not only see various buildings, you also see how it's going to look on the ground when it's constructed, and you can carry out all kinds of analysis on it, shadow analysis, and so on and so forth. This is a very interesting example. What you see on the screen is a station of the New York Metro, Jamaica Station, which I believe is one of the busiest in the New York Metro. And there's some major refurbishing work is in progress there. And they are using digital twin technology, using GIS and engineering data, not 3D, but 5D. So apart from creating a 3D model, the other two Ds are budget and time. So they are able to review the progress, not by just physically seeing it, but also identifying how much of the budget has been spent so far against the amount that was allocated, and how many months have elapsed, and how are we on the time schedule. So a true 5D digital twin, very interesting concept. The last concept I want to talk about today is geospatial infrastructure. It's a new scale for GIS. Okay, what does it mean? See, traditionally, GIS has been used as a person productivity tool, or maybe as a departmental system. So in context of, let's say, a city, or let's take a forest department. You have beautiful forests in Jharkhand area. So let's talk about a forest example. In a state forest department, for instance, in our country, you have multiple users, departments who are making use of GIS. The working plan those who are working on social forestry, joint forest management, wildlife corridor mapping, and all that. And traditionally, these have been departmental systems, and often you find that there's a lot of duplication of effort, duplication of data creation. The geospatial infrastructure integrates all this and creates a shared environment on a geospatial platform, which we are calling geospatial infrastructure, where all the data created by different departments is being shared in a collaborative manner, or GIS at a scale, as we can say. It's distributed because department systems exist, but they're interconnected. So there's no duplication of data, and there's a single source of truth. And they can serve anybody who can benefit. Could be individuals, could be departments, organizations, communities, especially if you are in a forest also for that matter, or in a city, of course. Villagers or cities in the vicinity of forests know where the forest boundaries are and so on. So engaging everyone. And it's really transforming the way organizations are running today. Major transformation initiative. How the whole business workflows are getting geo-enabled, engaging all the stakeholders, both from the data creation side and also from the user side. Creating organizations who can respond to the needs of all the stakeholders who can benefit from it. Okay, and of course, serving various users with a variety of applications. Field operation, field crew can go out with their data accessible on their mobile phone. Field workers, for instance, those kind of people, visualization technologies for senior officers, executives to get it, look at the dashboards to understand what's happening, just making maps, getting a project analysis, and so on and so forth. Let's talk about a few applications. Healthcare. Professor Rao talked about COVID, and in healthcare, there are a number of areas where GIS is being used, including COVID. For instance, disease surveillance. A number of cities in our country are using it to monitor how the disease is spreading. Also, mapping of the infrastructure, looking at the disease occurrence in different parts of a city or districts or villages, identifying how the infrastructure available to support those who are impacted, hospitals, then paramedics, staff, and all that. Also, mobile health services, which are the areas where there's no local support available, and therefore ambulances with doctors and nursing staff have to go. So planning the route based on which are the villages to be covered, epidemic analysis, risk control, and one important application, which probably doesn't appear here, is telemedicine telecare. You know, during the COVID time, especially when we had the second wave and more recently the third wave, because of the fear of infection, patients, other than COVID patients, of course, are not going to hospitals if they have any problem which requires medical attention. They don't go there because of fear of infection. So through telemedicine, it's possible for them to consult a doctor. But going a step further, what we are also seeing is telecare, where they almost create equivalent of an ICU, monitoring different parameters of the patient remotely. So they put a small sensor device on the body of the patient, and now the data is being monitored by a nursing station located somewhere. Once your location enable it, in the event the patient requires any immediate attention based on the data that's observed by the nursing staff, he or she can be directed to a near health center because the nursing station would know where the patient is at that moment, and which is the location where the facilities available in the neighborhood to attend to him or her. Agriculture, the number of applications, crop planning. In fact, I was in a conference earlier this morning organized by two universities in Delhi, DTU and JNU. And in fact, one of your alumni, Professor Rao, talked about one of your alumni who's working for this organization in Delhi, GSDL. He was also a speaker, by the way. This afternoon he was to speak. I spoke in the morning. Crop health and disease monitoring. In the budget speech, the Honorable Finance Minister spoke about, just a sec. Honorable Finance Minister talked about Kisan drones. So basically to monitor crop health. Again, GIS can help us in doing it, assessing the area which is impacted and using AI machine learning, identifying which other areas are showing similar trends. And therefore, if there is some localized issue that needs attention, all that can be done. Also, fertilizer requirement, soil, water requirements using IoT and GIS. Water resource, of course, a number of applications, safe water and so on. Water utilities. Now, one of the challenges with water utilities worldwide face is loss of water on account of leakage and also pilferage. The term they use frequently is non-revenue water or NRW, which is that percentage of water which is sent from the source but not billed to the consumer, somewhere lost on the way on account of leakage or pilferage. Using SCADA and GIS, you can, in the event, for instance, the water pressure drops in a certain segment, reported by SCADA, GIS can immediately tell you where is the likely occurrence of that pilferage or leakage or loss of water. And the technical staff can attend to it right away. This, of course, I talked about incident prediction, accident prediction. So these are some of the areas where GIS along with AI machine learning is being used. It's also a core technology for building intelligent transport system, which help commuters reach their destination safely and quickly. Also building multimodal transport systems for the cities, another area where GIS is being used. Crime analysis, several applications, whether I talked about predicting crime, that's one area. Also, there are some groups operating in certain neighborhoods, identifying which are the vulnerable areas which may come in harm's way, and number of other applications in the crime domain. Autonomous car was talked about earlier. What makes an autonomous car different, among other things, is of course they are connected cars. They are also location aware. They know where they are. They know where they are going. And they know which are the other cars in their vicinity, based on which they can navigate the route to the final destination and provide safe driving. And therefore, without GIS, they are not viable. Okay, that's about the technology and applications. Now we'll change gear. Before I wrap up, I'll speak about how am I doing on time? I'm okay, I think. Let's talk a bit about, just one second. The opportunities, as I said, opportunities are endless for career. And why am I saying it? First fill it with all the data. Okay. See, in the year 2020, National Education Policy 2020 was announced by a committee under Dr. Kasturirangan's leadership. And they talked about several things. Some of the recommendations which are relevant is focus on experimental learning, experiential learning, excuse me. Also multidisciplinary by 2040 and so on and so forth. Now, also a lot of emphasis on futuristic technologies, AI, machine learning, big data. Last year, around this time last year, we also had a new geospatial data policy announced by the government. And that is going to really stimulate the growth. As Professor Rao also mentioned, the industry, the geospatial data economy, geospatial economy actually knows as data, is expected to grow from where it is today, that's about 30,000 crores, to 1 lakh crores by 2030. That's an exponential growth. Okay? Also, the increased usage of GIS is likely to create 10 lakh jobs by 2025. Again, massive growth in terms of just the number of professionals will be deployed. And of course, there's greater focus on geospatial thinking. Just for example, in the budget speech this year, Honorable Finance Minister spoke about, used the word geospatial as one of the technologies where government will provide a lot of support in building a whole ecosystem. Even the Prime Minister, when he was addressing World Economic Forum late last year, or maybe early this year, he also used the word geospatial in his talk. He also did that at the Independence Day speech last year. So clearly, it's on the radar screen of the government that it's an important technology which can find applications across different domains within the governance model, be it central government or state government. Even in the education field, for the first time in the GATE exam starting this year, geomatics is recognized as one of the exam papers. It was announced last year, and I'm told this year GATE exam will have that as one of the exam papers. And of course, there are a whole lot of other developments. Clearly, all this augurs well for the creation of employment opportunities. And GIS is being extensively in various segments like smart cities, Amrut, the Atal Mission for Rejuvenation and Urban Transformation, a project worth at 1 lakh crores. Water resource applications, agriculture, even commercials were crop insurance and insurance, health insurance, medical, not health, general insurance, and so on. Land management, Samitra, one of the new projects launched by the government a year or two ago, last year, where Abadi maps or the areas where people live in villages, the Abadi areas they call it, all that is being mapped by Survey of India and using GIS technology, and of course utilities. GIS is really making a difference, making a big difference in India in terms of different projects, and all that is generating demand for technical manpower. Where there's various mapping agencies, they're going through a major augmentation and modernization, like Survey of India, Geological Survey of India, and others. Also, in the various mission mode programs, smart cities that I talked about earlier, RAPW, the Power Sector Reforms Project, Gramin Sadak Yojana, PMGSY, and so on, Land Record Management Program, Police Project, CCTNS, and all that. All the state forest departments already have GIS and they're augmenting it. Disaster management, National Disaster Management Authorities, state disaster management authorities are all using GIS today. Various urban development initiatives, defense, business application, and of course, universities and research. Over 100 universities and 10 IITs, besides 20 central universities, already have GIS capability, where they are providing education training on GIS technology. A few news clippings, and you can see Prime Minister's photograph with some statements attributed to him here and there. So as you can see that certainly geospatial is becoming a lot more visible today than it ever was before. In terms of the numbers, the geospatial economy globally is $88 billion today. In total market, global market is 409 billion, including many contributors to it. Okay. If you look at the map and the data with it, it shows the domestic market. The total market, this is a report of 2018, but last year, the data that was presented by the Government of India, DST, Department of Science and Technology, was that in the year 2020, in the year 21, the total geospatial economy was about 30,000 crores, expected to reach 99,000 crores by 2030. It employs 2.5 lakh individuals. It's expected to employ 22 lakh individuals by that day. So we are talking about big numbers we've never seen before. Okay, so this is the breakup of 251. 1.5 lakhs or so serving domestic market, 66,000 focused on exporters services, application development services, data development services, focusing on international markets. And of course, we will employ it within the government services, another 39,000. So we talk about 2.5 lakhs as on 2018, as in 2018. And these are some of the sectors where you'll find opportunities in various government sector organizations, the water resources, natural resources, engineering works, public work, PWDs, banking, financial services, retail, whole lot of areas where there are opportunities, career opportunities for GIS professionals. And these are the, we can't even read so much. Okay. These are some of the titles that you might end up carrying. If you opt for a GIS career, you could be a conservationist. Interesting title to have. Crime pattern analyst, or you could be a surveyor, or you could be a part of a facilities and asset management team. You could be a GIS developer, or you could be engaged in disaster and planning and management. Very important job. So all kinds of roles holders you find deploying GIS. Forester, managing forests. Okay, so this is my concluding slide. So geography, mapping, and GIS have never been so important. Providing the science to understand our world and the platform for creating a better future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. It was really informative session and informative words on geographic information system, integration and advanced technologies like artificial intelligence, machine learning, Internet of Things, big data, augmented reality and virtual reality, and a lot of career opportunities in GIS, importance of GIS rather, healthcare, water utilities, and much more. And yes, sir, we could able to know like there are a lot of career opportunities are also there in this GIS, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Oh, it was a pleasure.
And here we start with permission of Honorable BC sir with a experience sharing session. Aniket Kumar Nayak, our alumni, working in as store assistant in Triveni Sainik Mining Private Limited. Mr. Aniket, our alumni, Mr. Aniket.
Yes.
Yes, can you please switch on your video and share your experience?
Okay, sir. First of all, good evening all. मैं अनिकेत कुमार नायक. We have opportunity to work with BSES.
Oh, sure.
And working on platform ArcGIS.
Right.
Yes, sir. In that we working with power utility, sir.
Of course.
The basic things we know about GIS is one surveyor working taking with GPS. Okay, sir. Taking with GPS, and they are taking the coordinate, the main factor in GIS. That was the coordinate, the XY coordinate. We working with power distribution, and we working the IOMS, sir.
Yeah.
IOMS, sir. In that we learn how we, with the help of a SCADA, how we
अनिकेत जी चाहे तो हिंदी में बात कर लीजिए, हिंदी में बताइए, इंग्लिश में थोड़ा दिक्कत है तो हिंदी में बताइए. या
सर
हाँ बिल्कुल.
ओके सर. सर हमें इक्फाई, पहले तो हम इक्फाई यूनिवर्सिटी को अपने बॉटम ऑफ माय हार्ट थैंक यू, क्योंकि हमने वैसे प्लेटफॉर्म पे काम किया जिसके बारे में हमें कुछ पता ही नहीं था. GIS हमने कभी नाम ही नहीं सुना था कि GIS होता क्या है. फर्स्ट वी हियर हमने सुना GIS का नाम, GIS का नाम हमने सुना हमारे जो HOD जो वहाँ के थे, हमारे DGM मिस्टर रविंद्र अधूरी सर
Okay.
हेड थे। उसके हमारे वर्कर्स जिन्होंने हमें वहाँ पे इंटर्नशिप के मौका दिया। हमारा सर प्रोजेक्ट था कि हम इम्प्लीमेंट कैसे करते हैं जियो डेटाबेस को अपना पावर यूटिलिटी में कैसे इम्प्लीमेंट करेंगे, उस पर हम सब काम कर रहे थे। हमारा जो सॉफ्टवेयर था सर वो ESRI का ही था, ArcGIS, जिसपे सर हम लोगों ने काम किया था।
See, DSCS, of course, I have a lot of interaction with them right from the time they decided to acquire ESRI technology. I
Yes, sir.
forget those meetings. Those of you who have ever done business with Reliance would appreciate what I'm saying. We had
Yes, sir.
full days of negotiation meetings in Bombay at their office. First day's meeting ended at, I think, 11:45 or 12 o'clock at night. Second day, sorry, 1:45 at night. And second day, again, till about midnight. And after that, we could finally come to an agreement that they would acquire ESRI software.
Yes, sir.
More importantly, BSCS is, I think, one of the users we are really proud of in terms of the kind of work they've done on our technology. They use even technology like outage management, which is very advanced technology. There are very few, they are probably the only user in India who adopted it. In terms of how they use GIS is absolutely world class, comparable to some of the best implementations in the rest of the world. Tough customers to deal with, very demanding. They make full use of the technology and they become a showcase for others to look at. You know, I remember once in one of my visits to US, I went to an organization called Centerpoint Energy. They're based out of Houston and they are among the largest power utilities in the US, serving several states of the US. So I had a meeting with the GIS manager, the lady by the name Cindy Salis. And when I told her about the work BSC was doing, the reaction was they seem to be ahead of us in terms of how they are making use of GIS. And that's probably coming from the GIS head of Centerpoint Energy. That's a big statement. We are really proud of our BSCS association. Congratulations, you had a chance to work with them.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. No, good. Thank you very much, Aniket ji. बहुत धन्यवाद.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Aniket Kumar Nayak, and thank
Yes,
you
sir.
so much, Rajesh Mathur sir, for guiding. Now, our next alumni, Mr. Aman Saman, BCA 2014-17 batch, and he is analyst in Accenture Application Department.
Okay.
May I request Mr. Aman Saman, you please open your camera and speak. Aman Saman.
Good evening, sir. Actually, I'm on the street. I have taken my father to the hospital, so I could not be able to open my camera. So, will that be okay if I could speak on only audio?
ठीक है. Please go ahead, Aman ji. चलिए.
Yeah. Actually, I have joined GIS I have worked on GIS project in BSCS in the year of 2017. And there I just get to know about what is GIS technology. It is a very vast technology. And over there, we used to learn so many of the things, putting the joint in the cables and all the power distribution, electrical power distribution over there. We work on the local platform also. It was all the imaginary platform which we used to digitize on the system. And also we worked on the server so that some of the things become easier. So I have worked there a lot and learned a lot. It was a great pleasure to working in the GIS technology. So I have enjoyed working over there. In the beginning, I found so much of the confusions and so much of the issues while implementing all those technology. But once I'll get comfortable, I'm comfortable with that. I enjoyed working over there. So.
Good.
Good, good. बहुत बढ़िया जी. Yeah. Very good, Aman ji.
Thank
you,
you.
sir.
Thank you, Aman Samant. He was
Thank you,
Aman
sir.
Samant in like BCA 2014-17 batch pass out. Now coming to our next alumni, Mr. Roshan Munda. Mr. Roshan Munda is pass out batch is BCA 2014-17 batch, and he is research analyst at High Beam Global. Over to Roshan Munda. Yes, Roshan Munda, you can unmute and speak.
Good afternoon. I would just like to come to the point because right now I'm traveling and I would the experience almost there at GIS BSCS is almost the same with like these two of them are they were at the time particularly. Experience is almost the same, but when I came to know about GIS and about remote sensing from my superiors, then I started exploring more. And because of that, I have explored more. And the things I have the technology in case with AI and ML there. So it was very like what I could say. Like it was like that. Yeah, it picked up my curiosity, and that's why I moved to another thing, like in research field most of the time. So my superior told me about GIS, and then I went to remote sensing. Then I went to ESRI. ESRI was a technology which was like very. It started me to learn more. It made me to learn more. So that's all I have to say right now. So thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. He was Roshan Munda, our alumni. Now, with your kind permission, sir, shall we start with a question answer session?
Yeah, please go ahead. Yeah.
May I request all the participants, you can write in chat all questions, or you can unmute your system and you can ask questions. So a few questions.
Those students or faculty that are participating through Zoom, अपने आप आपका unmute कर दीजिए और आपका सर ये ऑन कर दीजिए, कैमरा ऑन कर दीजिए, ऑन करके जो सवाल पूछना पूछ लीजिए.
आप सभी से अनुरोध है, कृपया अपना कैमरा ऑन कीजिए और अनम्यूट कीजिए.
प्रोफेसर मिथिलेश मिश्रा जी, he is our professor in mining. मिथिलेश जी पूछ लीजिए, anything that you want to ask.
Very good afternoon to all, sir. Actually, I would like to know that in mining, GIS is in use for exploration and in surface technology. But is there any new development for underground, sir, and particularly for safety purpose? I would like to listen from Dr. Rajesh C. Mathur, sir. Please. I'm not sure, frankly. I know GIS is being used extensively for the mine planning, and CMPDI in Ranchi has done a lot of work in this area. They integrated ESRI ArcGIS technology with Minex. I think it's Minex they were using for mine planning. But these are, I think, open pit mines. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm not sure about the closed mines. Okay, sir. Okay, sir. And there are a number of applications, including routing. They use remote sensing extensively and all that. Movement of vehicle. There was a talk that there will be some chip and it will be provided to the miner and they will be located from the surface where they are actually. So I wanted to know, is there any development of that, sir? Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Sir, here I got a question from one participant. How GIS exactly works? He's a student. How GIS exactly works?
I don't know. I mean, yes, how does it work? I don't know what's under the hood. Okay, but there are different modules. For instance, some of the key components of a comprehensive GIS would be, one of course would be the database where all the data is stored. And today in our company, we use Oracle or other databases. You have mapping capability. Okay. We have the product called ArcMap, which is used to help in creating maps spatially. It helps, it is very analytical components, image analysis component, for instance. So, and ability to handle real high resolution, multispectral imagery and all that. But I'm not sure if I understood the question, frankly. So I'm just doing my arms here and there and trying to create a story.
It's, I think, too short a time, because there are various components involved in that.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I think.
Sir, our next question is, after COVID, how the industry can revamp and attain its earlier dignity using GIS?
Oh, that's a nice one. That's an interesting question. I think there are a number of ways. Okay, let's start from vaccination, for instance. When we in our country have a goal that we want to vaccinate everybody by a certain date, and in a phased manner, as we all know. But with GIS, what you can determine is, if you are, let's say, doing this planning for the state of Jharkhand, you can, in a GIS map, see this entire demographic profile of the state of Jharkhand, population on different parameters, especially age. Now, in different cities and different villages, what is the population like, based on which you can do capacity planning, how many doses will be needed for the first dose and the second dose, where would you like to store so that within minimum time you can, where do you locate all the vaccination centers, which are the existing facilities which can be used for it, so that minimum time is spent by the beneficiary to get to the nearest vaccination center. So all related things, that's one aspect. Second is from the organizations. Not today, what doctors have been telling us is that while COVID is reduced in terms of intensity, it will never go away. So the new normal, as they say, would be, among others, safe distance to be maintained. Now that can be a challenge inside an office building. In this way, GIS can be used. Today with GIS, you can do not just external planning, but also indoor mapping of a building. The UNC campuses can map the whole campus. That's one aspect. But within a building, you can identify each of the rooms, conference rooms, laboratories, and others. So in an office like this, you can look at the entire seating plan and reassign seats and workstations to all the employees, ensuring that the minimum distance is maintained. So keeping the safe distance requirements in mind, you can reassign the seats to all the staff members. Likewise, you can reconfigure, not design, but reconfigure common facilities, the training room, the cafeteria, the conference rooms and all that. So the entire indoor planning can be done using GIS, and those tools are available. The third is the business organizations. Business organizations have been really impacted badly by the COVID, not just ability of employees to come to the factory or the office, but also the supply chains. They've been badly disrupted. And as the occurrence of the disease fluctuates in different parts of the country, states start declaring various restrictions on the movement. And therefore, for the corporate, it's very difficult to determine how do they maintain the supply chain uninterrupted in spite of such unexpected disruptions caused by COVID. So they can look at multiple sources for sourcing of the material, and likewise distribution chains as well, storage facility for the finished goods, stockage locations and so on. And therefore de-risk to the extent possible the impact of COVID. So that's another area. Another area which, see the whole, one of the areas where, one of the major fallouts of COVID, if you will, has been the digital transformation that's happening across the globe, not just in India, not just some organizations. It's been triggered by COVID. And a lot of experts have said that what would have taken maybe 5 years to implement has happened in less than 6 months because of the we'll have no time to react, they just do it. And as part of the transformation, in many of the workflows which will now get automated, location will be an important parameter. Just talked about some like supply chain and all, and in the planning, there are many other areas, and they can make big use of GIS in preparing the organization, transforming their various workflows and processes.
Thank you so much, sir. Sir, one question which we got in the chat box. Sir, as you explained how GIS covers almost every area of technology related to location. So as a student, we are studying about it, and we would need to do practicals too, and GIS software are very costly. Mr. Rohit Tiwari is asking now, sir, sir, my question is that how being a student, we can do practicals at no cost or as a free cost. Is there any provision of Esra Technology Private Limited and has any internship opportunity for us so that we can explore more on it? And he's having a second question, how to do GIS implemented in railways and in airways, sir. He is Rohit Tiwari.
Okay, let me answer the second question first. I'll answer both. Okay, let me ask the first question first. Okay, we at SC India have a regular internship program. Every year, we visit various campuses and we take interns. We don't charge them any money, we give them stipend. And this internship lasts about 6 months, equivalent of a semester. We normally take students who are already pursuing a program in geospatial technologies. And if a university is already having a course, I'll convey to my HR that they should explore and see if they can also keep investing in their own travel plans. But we have extensive, and we are also working on another thing which I can't announce right now, but we'll announce it in another few weeks, which will help a lot of students in learning GIS. Again, none of this is, well, I don't know about this one, but most of these don't cost anything. In middle of around summer of 2020, when there was a lockdown, one of the fallouts, and students here and faculty members, I'm sure, would bear me out in that. Certainly, universities shut doors, so did colleges and schools, and students were sitting at home, not knowing what to do. They couldn't even go out and go to malls or see movies. So we thought this was an opportunity. Every disaster offers an opportunity. So we saw this as an opportunity for students to acquire new knowledge. So we came out with what's called Learn ArcGIS program, where we encourage students to enroll for the program and attend virtual classes of, I think, 3-week duration. Of course, there was no cost attached to it. And they also had the opportunity to get a student copy of the software for a certain period, I think 3 months or 6 months. So they could not only learn in an online training program, but also practice it at home on a computer. So that's the second one. Third is we are working on a program, and I can't be premature to announce it, but I think the coming weeks will come out, which will again benefit the students to prepare them for a career in GIS, even before they leave the campus. And second question, I'm sorry, railways. Now, railways is interesting. It's interesting because, when NDA government was formed in 2014, a few months later, the then railway minister, Mr. Suresh Prabhu, by the way, he is GIS literate. So he formed a vision council under the chairmanship of Mr. Som Mittal, former chairman of NASCOM, former president of NASCOM, exactly, the IT Industry Association. And he asked Som Mittal and his vision council, as it was called, to come up with a recommended strategy for technology adoption. Well, railway was already using IT extensively, to come out with a vision for the next paradigm. Minister also told Som Mittal that, to me, GIS is one of the important technologies for railways. So please get somebody who understands GIS to be in the committee. so that we can also bring in that dimension in your report. So Mittal recommended my name, and Minister asked for my profile and all, I accepted. So I was a part of the Vision Council, and we came out with a report which we submitted to the Minister on IT, including one chapter on geospatial or GIS, as he called it. It's one full section on the GIS. So having said that, where all can railways use it? Several ways. For instance, one would be anti-collision systems, where and some work has been done by RDSO on it already, and more work needs to be done, where trains can be location aware and they can be communicating with the central control room real time. Today, if you look at the railway system, their accuracy is restricted to the distance between two stations. And the station need not be a station where the train stops, just to the station. But with real-time tracking through satellite and GIS, they know precisely where they are. And through that, collisions can be, I mean, it's much more complex than that, and I'm not really qualified to address it, but that's one area. Second is real-time tracking of the trains. And some of those applications are available on mobile developed by third parties. So that's another aspect. Third is real estate. Railways is in possession of huge amount of real estate. They're the second largest owner of land in the country after defense. But they haven't mapped it. And stations have to be in the heart of the city, so all the real estate they have is in the cities. A lot of that can be monetized. So with GIS, they can map the real estate, precisely where it is, what's the total area. And based on that, valuation can also be done, because with GIS, you can also define all the parameters, where it's located, how far from the markets, other places. And based on that, a plan can be developed to sell the real estate. So that's yet another application where GIS, and I think railways are planning to do it. Fourth will be all the railway yard management. There again, GIS can be used to map all the infrastructure and everything. Then there's a system with RDSA developed and which railways are adopted also. I think RAMLOT, real-time tracking of locomotives or something, developed by RDSO and implemented also extensively. This is based on IoT, and in real time, they monitor location of 30 different parameters, one of which is location. So with that, you can track each location where it is. The IoT sensor sends information on 30 different parameters of the engine. And so if there's any alert, it can determine that this needs attention before it breaks down somewhere on the way. And because location is also available, they can also decide where is that engine right now, which is the nearest yard where it can go for repairs. So yet another application. Well, I can go on because I've done a lot of work in this area, but to me, these are some of the major application areas for railways. Metro railways, of course, use extensively across the globe, GIS technology, route planning, fare computing. In India, LRDSA, long range decision support system, was developed back in 90s actually on Esra technology. So it was used for long range planning, fare computations, among other things. So railways are user, railways can do a lot more though. Long answer to a simple question.
Thank you so much, sir. We move on to the next question by Anmol Mishra. It's written in the chat box that, like, sir, you told about QGIS or ARCGIS. My question is, which is better for beginners in GIS?
You're asking the wrong person. In my sleep, also the answer would be ArcGIS, period. I eat, drink, sleep, ArcGIS. No, but that's not the only reason. The whole world uses ArcGIS technology, including in India. I mean, let me give 30 seconds of sales talk and then I'll come to the As per the last survey conducted, ESRA had 70% market share in India. Every major project in India where GIS was used is based on ESRA technology. I can rattle off all the names of which, but I won't go into that. Why ESRA is the right choice for students. First of all, you see the purpose. What's the purpose of education? Let's ask the fundamental. And I'm talking to people who are academicians. The purpose is to impart knowledge to young students and to prepare them for a career. Simple language. I mean, I'm sure there are many more reasons other than that. So it's very important the students is employable. Now, when ESRA is being used by more than 70% of the users, especially all the major users, commercial, government, public sector, and others, then if a student goes to an interview and he tells the interviewer, I've been trained on ArcGIS, chance of getting a job is higher than a person who says, what is ArcGIS? I know ABC software. Very few employers would like to hire a person who doesn't even know the technology they are using. So it's like somebody going for a job as a database analyst and saying, I don't know Oracle, I know Postgres. It's good software, no problem, but most enterprise projects are running on Oracle. So clearly a person who knows Oracle or who knows SAP has a higher market value than their open source equivalents. I can give more reasons, but I think this will.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, sir. There is one last question, if you permit, like one student.
You can have many more.
A
the whole evening at your disposal.
Sir, one student, Pallavi, she's asking, application of GIS in the field of transportation engineering. Please explain. Application of GIS in the field of transportation engineering. Please explain.
What is transportation engineering? Is it transport, building? I'm getting confused by the technical term, transportation engineering, but in transportation in general, GIS is used for a number of areas, including intelligent transport systems, for instance, building multimodal transport systems, route planning for transit bus services, railways I talked about, port management, okay, and what else? Real-time tracking of vehicles, navigation and routing, all that again. Also, when you look at intelligent transport system, multimodal transport system is clearly one of the major components. But even building the transportation infrastructure, like in a city, where do you locate the flyovers? Which street could be one-way street, which could be remain two-way street? So doing all that modeling, again, GIS is a major tool. You can build it. You can look at the map of a certain city and look at the areas which carry heavy traffic, which are normally congested. And then do is what if an exercise? What if we put a flyover here? What will be the impact on traffic? What if you make this street a one-way street? What would be the impact on traffic? Those kind of applications can also benefit from GIS technology. And creating a seamless travel experience, of course, that's multimodal transport system I already talked about. Well, these are some of the applications that come to my mind, but I don't know if I answered the question or gone on a complete tangent.
Now, may I request participants, if you're having any questions, please unmute and ask to Rajesh Mathur sir. To all the participants, can you please unmute and ask questions, your queries to Rajesh Mathur sir. Rajesh Mathur sir is with us. Or else you can write in chat box. Right.
And Dr. Subrito, if there are no more questions, we can proceed with the program.
Right. Now, so Rajesh Mathur sir, it was really a wonderful session, a lot of knowledge-based session, and you spoke in a lot of areas. And I am sure that all our participants, they are enriched with all the knowledge on GIS. Now, for the formal vote of thanks, may I request our Professor Arvind Kumar sir, Registrar of ICFA University, Jharkhand, for a formal vote of thanks. Over to Registrar sir.
Thank you, Dr. Subrata. Respected Rajesh Mathurji, Senior Director, ESRI, guest of honor for today's evening and keynote speaker. Respected Professor O.R.S. Rao sir, our Vice Chancellor, and respected Vice Chancellor of ICFI Himachal Pradesh. Today is a very great evening because a leading industry expert on GIS has given us the insightful views of GIS and how it is changing the world around us. We are grateful and thankful to Shri Rajesh Mathurji for his valuable time and effort and patience for handling so many questions from our students and alumni. We are also thankful to Vice Chancellor ICFI Himachal Pradesh for his valuable time and spending it in today's evening in this program. That is quite motivating for us. We are also thankful to our Vice Chancellor sir for making this evening possible by introducing us to such an enlightened industry expert on GIS. Otherwise, it was not possible for us to know what GIS and how GIS is changing our lives. Thank you, sir. You keep us motivating and you guide us to conduct more such programs. Thank you very much, sir. We are also thankful to our faculties, students, and especially alumni who have joined us online from various places for sharing their views and spending some time out of their precious engagement in their offices. We are also thankful to our tech team and other colleagues and other participants for making this event successful. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, Subrata.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. So this is an initiative and blessings from our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor O.R.S. Rao, sir. And this is the first session of Industry Expert Talk Series. So thank you so much. And Rajesh Mathur, sir, thank you so much for your valuable advice. And it was such an informative session, sir. And now, for media and a record, may I request all of you, please switch on your camera so that we'll be keeping this as a snapshot and a memory. Please, all of you, may I request, कृपया अपना कैमरा ऑन कर लीजिए ताकि एक snapshot हम लें. May I request our technical team to please take a snapshot. This series will go on and it has got such an informative session.
Thank you, Subrata sir. We have taken.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Rajesh Mathur sir. Thank you, all of you. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Rajesh. It is short notice.
Oh, that's fine. I
accept it. And
thank you for inviting me.
We'll be in touch.
Thank you.
We'll be in touch.
Yes, if you happen to be this side.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay. Bye-bye. Namaskar to sir. Dr. Suvi Chattopadhyay.